The Formula One world has been totally shocked by the latest rumor about Max Verstappen possibly moving to Mercedes' team. It looks like there are some really good reasons why this might actually happen. After all the drama at Red Bull, Max's dad has been talking publicly about how Christian Horner is making the team toxic. Plus, Helmut Marko's comments are just making everything worse. Toto Wolff, who runs Mercedes, seems pretty hopeful about getting Max on his team starting in 2025. But is Max going to Mercedes something that could really happen? And if it does, what would Red Bull have to deal with starting in 2026, especially since Ford has a big say in their future partnership? Max Verstappen's name has been all over the news, connecting him to Mercedes in the past few days. Even though all of this is just rumors right now, there are lots of statements that make this seem like it could actually happen. We do agree with what most people think, that Max has no real reason to leave Red Bull since they're totally dominating right now. But on the flip side, his dad feels like the way Christian Horner runs things at Red Bull has been really affecting the situation his son is stuck in. And get this, it sounds like there's a special clause in Max's contract with Red Bull that lets him leave the team whenever he wants, if he feels uncomfortable or if he's not in his winning streak anymore. So according to what Joss has said, the first condition has already happened. Joss's close friends have already told the media that Max could leave Red Bull as early as 2025. And guess which team would be the best choice to sign him? None other than Mercedes. Of course, the person who has a lot to say about this situation, besides Jos Verstappen, is Helmut Marko. He went on to explain that the internal investigations at Red Bull have been finished. He said he won't say anything more about it, but as far as he's concerned, he won't get in Max's way if he decides to leave. Now, this is a really serious statement, because Marko himself admitted that he's not totally sure that Max will stay at Red Bull starting in 2025. Even their amazing win in Bahrain couldn't keep people from focusing on the Austrian team's problems. It seems like until Horner steps down and leaves the team, nothing will stay the same, and the pressure inside the team will keep building up until it explodes. Joss explained this as the team potentially breaking down completely. Obviously, Horner being found not guilty of the allegations made against him has definitely made some people at Red Bull really angry. And judging by the latest statements, it looks like the Verstappen family and Helmut Marko are on that side of the team. Joss's statements have really surprised everyone in the paddock. From judging the team's tactics back in Monaco 2022, to saying that Horner is not the right man for the job he's doing, which goes way beyond just being a team principal since he's also the CEO of Red Bull Racing, Joss may have gone one step too far. Going even deeper into this topic, the father of the three-time world champion added that there is tension here. While Horner remains in his position, the team is in danger of being torn apart. It can't continue the way it is, it will explode. He is playing the victim when he's the one causing all the problems. These statements from Joss and Marko have a very strong meaning because, if you remember correctly, Max has been known to trust only two people in the racing world: his father and the veteran Austrian who brought him into the sport in the first place. To make things even worse, it seems like Max is not really eager to defend his team principle when reporters ask him about it. And regarding his father's comments, the Dutch driver also chose to stay quiet and let everything play out by itself. There is a real power shift happening at Red Bull, but the team has a lot at stake here. Not just because Max could leave the team, but also because the Austrian team is on a path toward a potential partnership with Ford, something that the American company might already be regretting. There is a report that Ford is already looking for a way out of their contract with Red Bull. This could have been predicted by the fact that Jim Farley, the CEO of the company, has been really offended by the fact that the Austrian brand kept everything a huge secret from them when it comes to the investigation involving Christian Horner. A very important statement that needs to be mentioned comes from Toto Wolff, who talked about the next driver for Mercedes, especially Max Verstappen. While many people would think that this is an impossible scenario considering how things currently stand, the Austrian refused to deny it. He said that anything is possible when it comes to the driver replacing Hamilton. He added that he's not in a hurry for them to make a decision on drivers. He's been rushed and hurried by Lewis, so this time around he's going to take it easy and look at all the options. He thinks the driver will always choose the fastest car. That's basically what it's all about. And right now, the Red Bull is the fastest car, so that will obviously be their priority. But nothing is impossible. To top that off, it seems like high-profile engineers like Pierre Wache and Adrian Newey have exit clauses in their contracts too. If Max were to leave the team before 2028 and activate his own clause, they would very likely see a massive challenge in turning Mercedes into a very competitive team if they were to take on the challenge and win a championship with Max as soon as possible. Quite ironically, if Max manages to win a championship on his first try in Mercedes in 2025, which can only happen if he joins the team in the first place, it would be a huge slap in the face for Hamilton, who has struggled to do the same for what seems to be the third year in a row. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and see whether the situation that Red Bull is currently in has enough earthquake potential to shake the team to its core. As all things stand, there are already two sides formed in Red Bull. And judging by the comments made by Marco and Jaws, there's only one outcome that would make them happy: Christian Horner being out of the team. But they might have bitten off more than they can chew because they want the man who won 13 combined championships with Red Bull and has been there since day one, all the way back in 2005, to leave just because they're not on the same page and don't share the same interests. And if you think about it, regardless of how good Max is and how good of a car he has, believing that he could be more important than the team is definitely a bit of a selfish way to think about yourself. And Max could be paying the ultimate price if he joins Mercedes, as the Silver Arrows have been struggling quite a lot in the past couple of years to build a competitive car. But the 2026 regulations are right around the corner, and they are all about engine performance and electrification. This is the main reason why Red Bull signed the partnership with Ford. However, even with their own knowledge borrowed from Honda and put into the Red Bull powertrain program, it seems like they still lack a lot of experience when it comes to competing with Ferrari and Mercedes in this area. So judging by the latest pressure being applied from Jos Verstappen, it's clear that Max could find himself a new home starting in 2025. After all, we're talking about one of the most dominant drivers on the grid, and one that has been able to adapt to any car given to him in the past couple of years. If we were to watch the highlights from the past couple of seasons, although you'd give a lot of credit to the car, it's Max who's been able to get the maximum out of it and make it so dominant. And as a perfect contrast, you have Sergio Perez. Be that as it may, Red Bull have everything in their hands. And if they choose to pick another driver instead of Max Verstappen, they would very likely enter rebuild mode because this potential move would bring a massive group of engineers along with Max, with Adrian Newey being the loudest name rumored in the paddock, to leave the Austrian team if the three-time world champion is not there anymore. Ford's increased worries about the Red Bull situation could definitely mess up their relationship, and that's something that the Austrian team doesn't need at this moment. Even though Hamilton's departure to Ferrari might suggest otherwise, the situation is looking much better in the Silver Arrows as well as in Ferrari. So the 2026 pecking order does have the potential to be completely changed from what we're currently seeing. With all of this in mind, the power shift in Red Bull does have the potential to ruin a lot of relationships. And with Ford already looking for a way out of their partnership with Red Bull, the Austrian team has started to suffer the consequences of their own actions. The allegations have done nothing but damage to them because they've tried to ruin the reputation of the man who has done nothing but bring success to the team. Doing this in such a humiliating way has definitely revealed the dark side of being a PK on in such a huge game played in the background. Do you think Max could genuinely replace Hamilton in Mercedes? And if so, do you think that Red Bull would ultimately fall apart if this happens? Let us know in the comments below.